What's going on, guys? Your boy Amazing. We're back with another video, and in today's video, guys, me going over the Overlord collaboration on Grand Cross and actually ranking the characters from best to least best in the game. And this is going to be covering all content in the game, guys. I do this for every collaboration whenever they're available. So let's actually talk about all 6 of the characters we have here, including the 4 original characters and also the new ones that released with the rerun collaboration here. We're going to be going over their kits on the side left screen here, and then on the right screen we're actually going to rank them accordingly based on how I feel about the characters. So if you guys enjoy videos like this, man, definitely make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. I appreciate all the support on the channel as of late, guys. It definitely does mean a lot. And with that out of the way, man, let's hop in and let's talk Ainz as the first character. So Ainz is a character that is mainly built for a PvP setting, guys. If you actually look at Ainz's passive here, the Death Brand debuff that he's able to apply on on the enemies in PvP is only for PvP, right? So it says decreases damage dealt in all target ultimate move final damage in PvP. The amount decreased varies based on the ultimate move level, and it stacks up to 4 times. Death Sentence can be applied as well, and that's when you get, I think it's 4 of them, yeah, so if you apply 4 Death Brand effects using a single target in PvP, they are afflicted with Death Sentence. So this character is made to be a very strong PvP character, but the problem that I have with Ainz, guys, is that the damage reduction is dupe dependent. Because the damage reduction being dupe dependent is a thing, it makes it so that a 1 out of 6 Ainz is just not going to be that great versus other characters in PvP. Another thing as well is that Ainz, at least for the unknown team specifically, for strictly the unknown team, he's not a general best in slot. He's usually not one of the characters you're really running on an unknown team in general. But yeah, I mean, you have him as an option, obviously he is an option on the team, but obviously with higher dupes he's going to be a lot better, and generally speaking, without the higher dupes, he's kind of just a okay PvP character, most likely going to be relegated to more of a chaos battle setting in PvP. Now, where am I going to rank Ainz based on that, pretty much what I talked about there on the actual tier list itself? Honestly, guys, I think I gotta give Ainz the number 6 slot right here. And the main reason why I say this is because, again, he's kind of strictly limited to PvP. You can increase basic stats of allies of unknown race. I guess, right? I guess that kind of, or I guess it's his own basic stats, actually. So it's not even the allies. Yeah, no, actually, no, he's 6, guys. He's 6. I just took that in. That's only for himself based on the allies, right? He's not giving basic stats to the team. He's gaining basic stats from the team being unknown race. So yeah, no, he's definitely all right. Obviously high dupes, he's a very strong PvP character, but again, most people are going to have him lower dupe, and that's kind of where I'm trying to evaluate the character at, guys. So we're going to give Ainz the number 6 spot. Alright, guys, so hopping into the next character here, we have Albedo. Now, Albedo, I think, is going to be a very, very strong character in the game, and even on her release, she was still very, very good. Nowadays, she's actually gotten, pretty good in terms of the content that's been available in the game, and you can pretty much run Albedo in, across all content in the game, PvP and PvE included. So let's kind of talk Albedo and why I think she's such a strong character. So automatically for a PvP setting, she applies absolute defense, which means she taunts enemies from the rip. So taunting enemies decreases damage taken by 50%. So that's a 1 turn, forced taunt onto Albedo. When assuming a stance, the hero's basic stat increases by 20%. When hit with a skill during the enemy's turn, the hero's attack related stats increase by 10%, max of 5 times. So you get up to 50% attack related. And then if the hero does not take damage, all enemies damage taken increases by 40% for 1 turn at the start of the ally's turn. And then in addition, when the hero's stance effect is removed, the attack related ability of all unknown race allies increases by 20% for 2 turns, and the hero's basic stats increase by 7% for each unknown race ally participating in the battle. So Albedo is obviously the character that was given a lot with the original collab, guys, and you can see here she has a lot going on in her kit. She has taunt, she has support for the team with her attack related when her stance drips, she has the hero's attack going up to 50% for herself. She can lower the enemy's damage or increase their damage taken, right, when she specifically does not get hit. So yeah, no, Albedo's doing so much for the team. Also, to kind of synergize with the fact she has an amplify counter, man, this character is just absolutely insane, guys. Honestly, if I had to rank this character across the all 6 of the units here, she's gotta be, at least right now, and I might do I might change where I actually do rank the character, but I gotta give her You know, she might be one. She might actually be one now I'm thinking about it, right? Because you got to think about what Albedo is going to be used for in the game. Let's talk about what she's useful for. All demonic beasts except Ratatosker and Nidhogg, she's really, really good in. She's really good in the Demon King battle as well, which I would say is still endgame content to this day. PvP, she's a viable character on the unknown team. I would say generally better than an Ainz, unless you have a really, really high dupe Ainz. But Albedo is not a dupe dependent character. Even lower dupe, she's still strong. So because of that, I gotta give her the #1 spot actually, guys, because of the way she kind of lines up in the game in general. You know, this is more so like, now that I think about it, based on whether or not you should be taking these characters versus the others. And I think Albedo is honestly the most valuable one of the whole list here, actually, if you kind of think about it, right? Just in general. So that's going to be Albedo right there, guys. Let's move on to Cocytus, and we'll talk about where we're going to actually rank him. Alright guys, so we got Cocytus here. Now, Cocytus is a character that I think is really, really good, and he is the free unit of the collab. So for this ranking, because you're already going to have this character, I'm going to show you guys where I actually think this character will be ranked based on his kit. So for his passive here in PvE, removes all debuffs from allies with the hero when the hero uses a skill and inflicts damage. The increases HP of the allies that have debuffs removed by 10% for every debuff removed for 3 turns, and that's a limit of 5 times, so you get out to, what is that, 50% max HP increase. And then also for his Holy Relic here, in PvE, increases all stats of all allies by 10% for 2 turns when the hero uses a skill. So Cocytus is actually providing a lot. He's giving you 10% all stats across the board. He's giving you 50%, what's it called, increased HP for every debuff cleansed, right? And you get a 3-turn HP buff for each of them. He does have Amplify as well, which obviously works with the buffs that he's providing. And remember, these are for allies as well, guys. You get allies, you know, HP increase as well, which is very strong. He has a detonate skill, which is, you know, for damage can be alright. And then his ultimate is just kind of okay, you know, increases base stats, nothing crazy. But I think overall, guys, if I had to rank Cocytus on where I'd actually put him in the game, I think I'm going to give him #3. Yeah, probably #3. I really gotta think about it, right? He's a very, very strong character on the Demon King battle, just like Albedo. Demonic Beast, you can't really use him. PvP, you can't really use him, but I think for final boss content, he's still a very good character. You know, 50% HP increase on that, and then also the fact that he's giving 10% all stats in general PvE content. I mean, that's hard to miss up on, man. That's very, very strong. I think I am gonna slot Cocytus in the #3 spot, guys. We might have to obviously, you know, change some of these placements based on where I think the other characters would rank. But right now, this is kind of what I'm thinking for Cocytus, man. Yeah, you know, the HP buff he's providing and the all stats, I think, is valuable. But he is, generally speaking, only used in the Demon King and, you know, select PvE content. So not a very flexible character in that sense. But I'll give him the #3 spot because of how useful he is in those certain, you know, parts of the game. Alright guys, now moving on, we got Shaltir here. Shaltir is the last character of the original Overlord collab here. Now, Shaltir is a character that I think is not the greatest character in the game, guys, but is still a very valuable character for some content in the game that you can use her in. Now, for her passive, increases the hero's basic stats by 7% for every unknown race ally participating in the battle. When the hero deals damage, or if an ally takes damage from a skill during the enemy's turn, the hero's HP related stats increase by 10% up to 3 times. And if there are 3 stacks of this effect at the start of the ally's turn, they are removed and the hero gains the madness effect for 1 turn. In addition, targets bleed for 2 turns when the hero inflicts damage using a all target attack skill, and madness is going to increase attack related stats by 50%, defense related stats is going to be minus by 30, and then restores 40% max HP when removed. So that's going to be your passive right there. Now the thing is with Shaltir, guys, is that right now in the game she has a few uses. She has Ratatosker in the sense that she can apply on this AoE skill specifically, and her ultimate, she can apply bleed from her passive, right? So being able to apply bleed on Ratatosker is solid. Also, she can heal the team based on her single target here. Yeah, so in her Holy Relic here, guys, this is where she has the healing part of her kit. So restores allies HP by 30% and the hero's damage dealt to bleeding enemies. So whenever you're doing an attack card into an enemy that's bleeding, you're actually going to heal your allies 30% of the HP based on the damage dealt. So damage dealt of 30% you've done is pretty good, and Shaltir is able to do a lot of damage. So you can actually get a lot of really good healing from this character. Yeah, so in general, you got Ratatosker, you got final boss content, I guess, and then some PvP usage. Not the greatest in PvP, but still is a viable option on Unknown. I feel like she's kind of the same level as Ainz without dupes. But yeah, no, like, I think, I don't know. I think she, yeah, for me, I gotta give her the number 5 spot, guys. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna give her number 5. The reason why I say this is because Shaltir, I think, is a solid character. But when you think about the use case you're using her in, it's gonna be either rat or final boss related content, just general PvE, right? Because she's able to heal the unknown team, which no other, you know, unknown unit can really do. So she has that healing aspect, and she's able to deal a lot of damage and get that attack related ability when she gets madness, right? So yeah, that right there I feel like gives her the number 5 spot. You know, obviously I think she could be, you know, a lot better in the future depending on content that's released. You know, the more debuff related content we can actually do, the better this character. But right now, guys, I think she's gonna slot in the number 5 slot on the Overlord tier list. Alright, guys, now moving on to the brand new characters here. Let's start with Nabrel first, and then we'll do Demiurge, guys. But Nabrel here, Nabrel is actually a fairly solid character in the game. A really good buffer character, just in general, as in her passive right here, and I'll go over her passive. So at the start of the battle, shockwaves are applied to all enemies for 2 turns, and the attack of unknown race allies increased by 10% for each unknown race ally participating in the battle. When the hero uses a all-target attack, it applies the shock effect on hit for enemies for 2 turns, and increases unknown race allies damage dealt by 20% when attacking enemies affected by shock or shock, so the shock waves. Shockwaves is going to apply shock for 2 turns when taking damage from the enemy skill and excludes damage from additional hits. So that right there from Nabrel, guys, I think is pretty good. You know, you're getting up to 40% attack in a 4v4 setting, which, you know, in general PvE content, when you're doing Demon King, if you're doing Demonic Beast, you're going to have 4v4, you know, on field, right? You're going to be with all 4 of your characters on field. Her Holy Relic here does provide some basic stats for having shock on the enemy, but you're really not going to benefit from this too much. You get a little bit, I guess, in some of this PvE content, but generally speaking, you're not really going to benefit from that too much. Her skills are not anything that crazy either. AoE Pierce and then the Electric Blast single target. So yeah, that's not really that insane. But another thing that's really nice is her ultimate here, where it increases all allies' basic stats by 30% at 1/6, and that does not scale up, by the way, in dupes. So you can actually get this character at 1/6, and she's still providing that buff, you know, at that point, right? So I think that is very, very valuable. Now, where am I actually gonna rank Nabrel on the tier list? Because honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I might actually put Nabrel in number 3, actually. And the reason why I say this is because I think, oh, you know what? Oh, that's kind of tough, actually, now that I think about it with Demiurge. And we still haven't talked about him yet. But I think that Nabrel could be number 2 or 3 right now. Right? I really got to think about it because it's tough, man. I'll put her for 3 for now. And the reason why I say this is because I do think that she's providing more than Kakaitis. She has 40% attack, as I mentioned, right? 10% for each unknown race participating in the battle. You are also getting 30% basic stats on field, right? And then also you can get a little bit extra basic stats from this shock right here. And that buff alone, I feel like, is valuable. You know, having this right here, you know, having the 40% right there. And Nabrel is useful in the floor for the bird. You can use her in Ratatoskr. I don't really recommend it, but she is usable. And then obviously other general Demonic Beast related content, she's going to be really good, guys. PvP, I don't think she's going to be the greatest, but, you know, has a use case, I guess, right? If you want higher attack in PvP, you know, that's definitely an option. But yeah, no, generally a PvE character, but I got to give her, I think, yeah, number 3. Now that I think about it, yeah. So that's going to be where I rank Nabrel. Let's move on to Demiurge. Alright, guys, so I saved the best for last here. We have Demiurge. Now, you guys see I have the number 2 spot open, so we're actually going to slot him in at number 2. Now, the reason why I actually do give Demiurge the number 2 spot is because this character is just absolutely absurd in PvP. Now, the thing is that I don't think how good Demiurge is in PvP right now outweighs the strength that Albedo has across the entire game. I think the value that Albedo is providing for your account, just being able to clear Demon King very, very easily, you know, and being able to clear all the Demonic Beasts while being a viable PvP character in Unknown Team, I think does give her the edge a little bit versus Demiurge, where he's only really, really good in PvP, right? You have Demiurge, where he's a very strong PvP character, but then you have Kakaitis and Nabrel, where they're strictly for PvE, but then Albedo's both, right? So I think that's where you kind of see, you know, where I kind of prioritize where I would rank kind of, you know, characters here. But Demiurge, a great character, guys. Like, I don't even really need to talk too much about this character, but mind control applied to the enemy with the highest attack and the enemy that has the lower attack than the hero. The hero is given the additional race demon. For each demon ally participating in the battle, their basic stats increase by 5% and their damage taken decreases by 10. At the start of the ally's turn, Blazing Inferno is applied to all enemies, and the hero's damage increases by 50% when attacking an attribute advantage. And then when an enemy uses a debuff attack skill, their max HP decreases by 30%. So he outright counters the human team that was being used, you know, for a while with the Arthur, Escanor, Naofumi team, right? And then Mind Control right here is going to be damage dealt minus 30%, and Demiurge cannot be targeted if other characters exist, and the Blazing Inferno is going to be damage taken on the enemy increased by 15%, can be stacked up to 8 times. So that is obviously a very, very strong effect. He has a very strong single target with the Blackfire being ×2 critical chance and 80% damage dealt for each Blazing Inferno. And then his AoE here is going to be pretty much weak point, but with increased damage dealt on Mind Control enemies. So just a very, very strong kill right there for PvP specifically, guys. His ultimate as well is very strong. If you get the 2 out of 6, you do get the Conflagration. Conflagration ignores 30% of enemies' critical defense and resistance. You do also gain the ×3 critical chance as well. And then you also apply 2 Blazing Inferno. And his Holy Relic is going to be applying some more Blazing Inferno, and increases the Demon Allies damage dealt for each Blazing Inferno on the enemy up to 40%. So yeah, I mean, this character is absurd in PvP right now, guys. Honestly, broke PvP and is really just like, you know, destroying a lot of the characters in the meta right now. If you gotta go first with this character and you win, but that's the thing that I feel like Albedo has against him, is that she's not a better PvP character, but she's a better all-around character, right? And I think I do value that over just being, you know, super dominant in one thing in the game, because having also multiple things in the game that you have use cases for, I think makes this character very, very valuable versus Demiurge, where, you know, he's only going to be good in PvP, and when PvP falls off, you know, that might not be good for him in the future. He might actually drop down to some of the later tiers here, just based on how good he is in PvP at the time he's available. But yeah, this is where I would kind of rank the Overlord characters here, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Where are you guys actually ranking the Overlord characters on a list of, you know, 1 to 6? And the thing is, obviously, you know, this is my opinion, so things can definitely change. If you guys feel differently about these characters, you can obviously rank them in my comments below. Let me know how you guys would rank the characters as well. And that's going to be it for the video. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'm going to see you guys on the next video, man. Peace out, and have a great rest of your day, guys. See you later, man.